Okay, should we get started, guys? We can get started, and then if people trickle in, we can catch them up, or they can check out the docs. Everybody cool with that?
Sounds good.
All right. Cam, do you want to lead us off in terms of just talking through the quick agenda, and then I can dive in with various updates?
Sure. Kicking it right off the bat, just starting off to talking about the infrastructure, market, the light wallet, pools, and just a lot of various things that are actually quite connected, including behind the scenes stuff. I know you mentioned that we could talk about buyback and just how that works, but then also talking about what the community can do to contribute to some of that as well. After that, walking through the roadmap of ideas and then going over questions and answers around it.
Cool.
That's the gist.
That is perfect. Does anybody have any questions or anything before we get started, or any, I don't know, write-in additions to the agenda? If you do, feel free to use the chat box here in Zoom, or you could use the chat. You could just use Discord if you want. If you want to use chit chat, that would be fine too, for live questions and thoughts. So yeah, so I think let's start with some updates. I think that the most important updates are all sort of infrastructure related. So I'm excited to announce that we've been doing a bunch of testing and hardening of kind of the new infrastructure. So specifically, we've been testing the Light Wallet as well as the Merit Market most of last week and over the weekend. And I think we can sort of, to this group, we can preview that both of those things I think are now leveled up and stable. So we tested the market this weekend. The market seems to be now, I think officially we can say that it's back online. So after this meeting's over, we can post an announcement out to Discord and Telegram and the rest of the community. But the market does appear to be operational and working solidly after a bunch of our testing and improving. The Light Wallet infrastructure is the same. We had a number of small issues related to the new infrastructure, but we did a bunch of debugging and testing, and that was all part of the market testing because you, of course, need the Light Wallet to work stably to get the market working. So that's all, I think, working in a pretty stable way. The pool is also, I think, now in a stable state. These three things, of course, are all on the same infrastructure. So we've leveled up the infrastructure. There's a lot more infrastructure work to do. And so while these things are like online and stable now, there will be some planned downtime in the, I think in the days to come, because we have to move a couple servers over to different power, and we have to upgrade a couple of the servers to make sure that they're, sort of kept up to date and have the storage that they need, which a couple of them have run out of space. So that's kind of the update on infrastructure there. So I think we can officially announce, I think today, that the market is back online and the Light Wallet infrastructure is stable. So that's exciting. I think there will be some planned downtime, like I said, in the days to come. But I think, people can now sort of safely use those things again, which is pretty exciting. And the same is true of the pool. The only service today that is not like operational, that we know is not operational, is the dashboard. So dashboard.merit.me, those backend services are not online right now, though that is at or near the top of our list of stuff to do, is to get that back online. So I think huge kudos to Eugene, who I think drove the market project and got it back online. There was, of course, some testing help from folks like Tony and myself, but I think Eugene primarily led that effort. Eugene, I don't know if there's any comments or anything you want to add to the state of the market, but I think I can say, at least from the testing we did this weekend, it feels totally stable. We've tested all the primary user flows and use cases. So great work, Eugene. If you have anything you want to add, be sure to let us know. Otherwise, we can move on.
Basically, yeah, it could be slower than it was because we don't have like geographical distribution right now, and there might be some problems with live updates, but yeah, it should be stable mostly.
Okay, cool. And Cam, I just saw your message, and thanks again, Eugene, for driving that initiative. I think it's a big win to get that stuff back online. Cam, I saw your message in chat here from Overcooked Panda. So it sounds like the Explorer is working, but there's some issues with his version with his Merit D.
So it sounds like I'm just cherry picking my notes based on the conversation.
Cool. Yeah. So I think we can say that the Explorer is online, but is sort of intermittent. So I think we can try to investigate that and help him investigate that. I'm not 100% sure what the problem might be there. So I think we'll have to dig into what's going on there, but it sounds like it's working some of the time. So that's good. We can also, if he needs us to, we can migrate it to the Merit infrastructure, right? So like we can put it on our cluster that we have, which might be a good move. So I don't know if that would help him. So we can offer that to him, Cam, and then we could do one of either thing, right? We could put the Explorer up on our infrastructure, or we could put or we could have him we could try to do some troubleshooting with him. I think either of those approaches would work.
Cool. On that note, is a good time to mention, you mentioned you got a battery backup and some other maybe hardware needs or shout outs.
Yeah, so there's a number of ways, if people are wondering in the community how they can help out, there's a number of ways they can help out. So we, obviously given the sort of the lack of funding, have moved our infrastructure to sort of a self-hosted kind of environment that's been maintained voluntarily by me and the team. And so anybody that is willing to help out in terms of, I think either donating sort of BTC or donating, hardware, I would say reach out to Cam. And, specific needs are around, we need a couple new battery backups. We need, and we're always needing more sort of solid state disk hard drive space, specifically disks that are over 1 terabyte in size. And then we always need more compute. So we have kind of like a rack environment, we actually have like a little rack. So anybody that has like rack servers, like old, like an old Dell R730 or I think 630 or 620 as well. Any of those like Dell kind of rack mount servers are great. I think we have a limited amount of space for like tower servers. So anybody that has a good tower server, we're open to that too. I think the process, we would, from a power draw standpoint, since we're paying for our own power too, we would ask that like anything that's like, that's considered would be like a Xeon, probably like a Xeon E3 or above, would be the kind of thing that would make sense in the environment. Anything else would be a little bit probably too costly to run given the power needs. So there's anybody that's like feeling particularly, like giving back or helping. There's a great site called labgopher.com, which I'll put here, which is like, it basically crawls eBay and helps you find like good deals on old servers, which is basically what we've been using. So we're trying to do our best to like keep the infrastructure going and on our own dime. And so like, any sort of contribution there, of course, is meaningful. Anything to add to that, guys? Max, Cam, I think that covers it. I'll take that as a no, nothing to add, but feel free to jump in if you guys have something. Those are the big needs. So always compute, always hard drive. Those are like evergreen needs. And then the battery backup's just a couple. Go ahead, Max. Sorry. I just saw you come in and out. You were muted. Did you say something, Max?
Yeah, I was going to say, it'd be nice to have some of the infrastructure hosted on other computers outside our data center. So like backs of that would be useful too.
Oh, so if people have their own infrastructure, we could potentially put some servers in their world, or put some
like core nodes or running.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So that's another thing. If anybody is not interested in sort of donating to the infrastructure cause, but wants to somehow be involved through significant infrastructure they may have at home or that they have access to, then definitely reach out to us as well, and we can figure out a way to like maybe host some of the stuff on on other equipment in other parts of the world too. So that could be cool. Cool. I think that covers infrastructure. Anything else there, Cam, or do you think we're good to move on?
Looking over the list, I know briefly we mentioned the mobile wallets. The Android seems to be operational, and iOS, you said there were some details that could get help on.
Yeah. So I'll put this on the agenda too because I didn't have it there, but we should definitely talk about it. So the mobile wallet update. We have been thwarted by Apple time and time again, and so we. I think what we need to do here is basically reach back out to them and engage in another discussion around if they're willing to approve the app. The reason that the app is not working on iOS is that like the betas expire. So obviously we can like refresh the beta and we'll put that on our to-do list. But I think those betas only last for like 90 days until they expire, which is like a big pain in the butt for everybody. So I think what I'd like to do is get to a place where Apple approves us and actually puts the app on the App Store. They have a pretty strict policy around, payment methods and crypto. And that's why we've been declined so many times in the past. Now, the issue here is that like we can't control Apple. We can't control their policies and, we can't control their view on crypto. With that said, I do think that it's worth noting that like crypto is in has lost a tremendous amount of hype. Like it's not what it used to be, where we used to be in a situation where like everybody was talking about crypto and trading crypto, and there's like a lot of scams and a lot of like other apps and stuff that were sort of, I'm sure, taking advantage of people. That largely I think has gone away in recent days because it's not been it's just not been like a major crypto just hasn't been as hot as it used to be. So Apple might be more amenable today to like let us get the app approved because it's not like in the same part of the hype cycle that it was. Which means potentially fewer people would be at risk. And I think we can also point to the fact that we're still here. We've been here over this period of time. So who knows? So ways to help with that, that's tough. I mean, you can always tweet at Apple. You can always, reach out to them and ask for them to expedite the approval of the app, and you can sort of like vouch for us. That's always a thing you can do. Another thing that people can do is if anybody has connectivity at Apple, like if you know people at Apple who can sort of help as like a human to talk to, that's always helpful and meaningful to us because like we definitely are trying to get in touch and trying to get them to approve what we're doing. So that's probably the most meaningful way in which people can be helpful on the Apple side. I have no dates there or no like idea in terms of what we can share. In terms of getting the app like reapproved for the App Store, we definitely are happy to get, especially if there are people who are in the community who want to help. There are lots of ways you can help. We don't have like a continuous integration pipeline for the binaries right now. So like that's something somebody could set up. Also, all of the code for those wallets is open source now. So people can definitely help in terms of like running the builds and getting the like being part of that sort of build release process could be helpful because like it takes a lot of time and I have very limited time. So like I'd like my time to be spent like talking to Apple, not like building the various versions for different, for different devices and stuff. So and doing all the like the QA associated with that. So like I think there's definitely opportunities to help. So if you want to help on that side, definitely reach out. Again, the ways in which you can help are like connectivity to Apple. If you are a software engineer and you're able to, run the builds for Ionic is specifically what we use on the software side there. So if you have experience with Ionic, that could be a win. And then I think the third thing, not totally clear if this is an opportunity yet, would be like actually reaching out, like if there's somebody who's a particularly good communicator and has a lot of time, maybe we can set them up on our Apple account and they can actually start to interface with the Apple team to go back and forth through that process. But that's a little bit of a maybe because I'm not even sure if we can do that or if we're allowed to do that. So we got to figure that out. So that's the quick update on the mobile wallet side. Did I miss anything there, guys? Did I cover all that? Anybody else have anything to add on that?
Sounds good.
Cool. Okay. So what did we have? I wrote behind the scenes here on the agenda, but I feel like some of that was related to the buyback and some of that was related to the Apple stuff. So I'm not sure if there's like more. Cam, is there anything that comes to mind for you on behind the scenes stuff?
No, we've kind of been weaving it in and out.
Okay.
Overall, everything on the list is covered. I know there was one further down the list of the changing the website back. I know that was something you had in mind.
Yes, that let me you know what happened there? So one of the members of the core team, Vladimir, had volunteered to do it, but I think he's maybe too busy to do it. I just sent him a message. If he doesn't take that on, I guess I'll take it on. So that's just like a little bit of a miscommunication there. I thought he was going to take it because he said he would do it, but then I think he's just not able to. So let me.
Cool. I think I see him on the call.
I will do it.
Oh, Vlad is here.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you sure you're able to do it, or are you too busy? Because if you need me to do it, I can do it. Definitely.
Yeah, I will send you a git commit hash.
Okay. Thanks, Vlad. That's awesome, man. Really appreciate it.
I don't have I have no access to do it, but I don't have a Firebase access.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you send me the commit hash, I can roll it and push it. Or if you want, I can add you back to Firebase too. You just have to send me like your whatever personal Gmail you want me to use. So. Okay. Cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. So it sounds like maybe we will get that done sooner than later. So then if we have that covers almost everything, right? Because that'll be the website, all the core services, except for the dashboard will be back online. So that's a big win.
Yeah,
cool.
That covers all the notes. The only other note I had was to remind people to go out to the Trello on each one of these services or products is, if they have questions, so they can click on one of the Trello boards, it's ideas, issues, or something else. That's a not time sensitive way to get a hold and write things down.
Yeah.
So just people don't forget that.
Is there as a little bit of a, well, okay, let me punt this question. I have a question about Trello, but I'm going to punt it. So hold on, we'll come back to it. Okay. Because I don't want to do that until all the updates are done. So let me also provide a buyback update. So I got a lot more requests for buybacks than I anticipated because the number of buyback requests was pretty small until the last 24 hours. And then like 200% of the people who had already requested over the last week and a half came up in the last 24 hours. So I will provide a more formal update. Well, I'll give you an update now, and then the specific updates are going to be one-to-one. So basically, what I'm going to do is it's going to be first come, first serve. So the first person that reached out, that's going to be the first person that gets the GBS bought back, or their GBS Merit bought back. And I'm going to start doing that most likely in May. So I'll probably start the buybacks on May 1st, and hopefully, if all goes well, I'll have them done by June 15th. And so what I'll do is, obviously, we can communicate those dates. We can communicate that out right now if we want to, into the community. We'd also put it here in the notes. But then each person, I'm not going to publish each person. I'm not going to publish people's information or who's in the buyback. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to each person individually and let you know kind of where you are in the list and when to expect me to do the buyback with you. Because the market is now back online, I think we no longer need to do anything with escrow, third-party escrow. So we can just use the market. So we'll just do a simple approach where you create a listing, you send me exactly what the listing is, and then I can make a purchase from that listing as soon as I'm able to. So, but don't make the listing until we talk about it. So because then somebody else could buy it in the meanwhile. So short answer is if you're in the GBS buyback list, if you've made a request, number one, if you haven't heard from me, I think I replied to everybody who reached out via email. If you didn't get a reply from me, you need to immediately say something in issues and support or on Discord or send another email to me. But reach out to one of us on Discord, probably Camo, because I think he's more available there. But let us know. But I believe I have gotten back to everybody. So you should have heard from me by now. And then, my plan will be to sort of do that over time. And you'll hear from me on a date somewhere between May 1st and probably June 15th. You'll hear from me on a date sometime in the next couple of weeks. So that's the update on the buyback. Any questions on that from anybody? Is that all pretty clear? Or questions on anything so far?
Sure, a common question. Now that the services are back up and running, if something does go wrong, Discord's still the best way to report issues on the channel?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So we talked through, that's a bunch of updates, right? So that's where the infrastructure stands. That's where the mobile wallet stands. That's where the buyback stands. We talked through infrastructure and ways people can help. Anything else, Cam, you can think of before Q&A?
Not necessarily. We can go over the roadmap of some of the ideas for the town hall meeting. I can change slides if you want.
Yes, actually, let me ask the one question first about Trello. So the one I punted, let's get back to that one. So is there a way in Trello for people to vote on things? Like I'm trying to think of like something like user voice, you know, like where people can like vote ideas up and down. I'm just trying to think if there's a way to do that in Trello.
Sure, yeah, there's a power up. I enabled it on most of the boards. Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay.
So if everyone, can you see my screen here?
Yes.
So it's not a default thing, but let's say you go into one of desktop lightweight and you really like this idea on this card. If you're in this card, there is a, so, of course I pulled up a board where I didn't add the vote feature. Let me go to, I know I enabled it in one of them. All right, so the town hall board, any of the cards, you see the little power-ups got voting there. All you have to do is vote. It's only a thumb up or a not thumb up. So if anyone likes something, they could vote this way.
Does it like rank order it or do anything based on the voting, or how does that work?
Card to card, it could. Like you can sort it in this column by high to low.
Okay, cool. That'd be good. Okay. Cool. Okay, so what else then? So that's yeah, okay, so that's the only question I had, and that's going to be useful. If we can enable that power up on the other boards, that'll be good, because like, you know, I think there are a lot of sort of loud voices in the community, which is good. At the same time, like that can drown out other voices, right? So I think it's important that like everybody gets a chance to be heard.
Cool, for sure.
Okay. All right, sweet. Yeah, I would say take it away, Cam. I think we can definitely talk through Q&A now. Plus, yeah, as you said, we can go through the things on the list that we had already recorded around roadmap.
I mean, overall, at a high level, a lot of these, in short, there's coding needs, of course, but on the other side, a lot of these don't require any coding, right? This is just some community-driven things. So overall, if people haven't seen this, this is out on the Trello board. But each month, and about one thing per week, there was just ideas that came up from various community members or something that I kind of interpreted and started putting it on some sort of 12-week window. So, I mean, I'll leave it up there for those who haven't seen it or watching it in the recording. But in general, each month, so the green ones are connected to the community engagement stuff. The orange are connected to services and stability, which is a lot of what we already talked about, which is ongoing overall. That's why it's included at the bottom of each time frame there. And then the building foundation stuff is just trying to determine how we do certain things in this new phase. So that's the high level. I'll pause. Anything else anyone wants to add?
I mean, generally, I like this approach. I think the idea of having like representation from each color or theme in each period, I think, is important. So like we're making progress on all the initiatives over time.
Yep, totally.
Anybody else have anything to add?
No, you said what I was gonna say. I like that there's continuous communication feedback.
Yeah, no, for sure. And overall, I can just run through the concepts of what the things are, and then as people have questions, they can ask it. But I mean, these three themes, I think was a good word or a good way to say it, are just things that have kind of bubbled up from the community chats, the Telegram or Discord, just different ideas or issues or something that we could focus on. So I summarized it into those three themes, and kind of throughout April. So let's say the idea boards, we already have the Trello boards up, but starting some 30-day campaign for those that are still engaged. Maybe you can't code, but you could still open the Android app and poke around and find ways to improve it. So go out on the Trello board and drop those as you go. That's kind of what that is about. That's that they're starting the 13th. Fireside chat's just more, and there's a few of them, but those are just sessions like this where we have a specific topic in mind, maybe where we just talk and hear more from team and others. And then in a similar way, the 24th, that's not necessarily a chat, but maybe a document, kind of like the Google Doc we have open or something, where it's kind of a living, breathing place to unpack what makes Merit different on that. So I won't go into each one. Any questions on specific ones that we see, or is there one out there that the team thinks I should explain more for May or June?
Yeah, I'd like to hear about the process and workflow on May. Like, what kind of
Oh, sure.
onboarding ideas do you have?
So this comes up, let's say, well, one of the questions during one of the chats, I forgot when it was, but let's say there is a developer, because the community does have some different skill sets. Let's say there is a certain dev, I think it hasn't been documented necessarily as how to get them on board. So I think by that date, kind of starting to talk about, let's say person X is really good at skill X. How do we get them into GitHub and all the different various ways? I know it's really high level and rather easy, but I think just communicating that out, I think, is what that was about.
Got it. Thanks.
Cool. I mean, this will be out there, and this is really was just a draft of the ideas. So, I mean, we'll soon, if we get feedback from the community, anything needs to change, we can change it. But we can probably just start to try to unpack some of these things over the next 12 weeks.
Seems good. Okay, well, with that out there, is there anything else to go over on that side on process or roadmap, or should we move to Q&A?
The only thing we haven't brought up really from the list that I have here is the merit pool distribution of invites. It's an old topic. Was that automated ever? And if not, what's the best way for that to work?
That's a really good one.
And I threw it on the roadmap, but for the end of May.
Semi-automated. So it was semi-automated because what happened there was that, like, I think somebody knew. I'm just going to mute them. So yeah, it was semi-automated. So the way that we did that was we built a script, and the script allowed us to crawl the server and then do the invite distribution. But I don't think it was ever built into the mining pool software automatic. Like, it wasn't like built. I don't think we integrated it into the mining pool software because it was a third-party script. So I think we could just run the script, right? Max, tell me if I'm missing anything there. I don't think so. I think we just run that script.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, it has to be run by hand right now.
Yeah, so we should run it by hand. I think we can just run it by hand. I don't know, every month or something. If you guys remember this, I think we had put a bounty out for integrating that functionality into the mining pool, but I don't think anyone ever took the bounty. So happy to, like, renew that bounty or do, whatever. If there's somebody in the community that wants to, like, contribute, I mean, it's pretty doable, I think, to build it into the mining pool software. It just needs to be done. And then obviously the script is like a usable, like, the script can be looked at as a point of reference, right? So though I think they're in different languages. I think we did the script in like Python or something, and the mining pool stuff is in C#. But anyway, a skilled engineer I think would be able to do it either way. So yeah, so that's the kind of quick story there. So I think I don't know. Let's put that on our near-term to-do list that we can. I don't see why we couldn't do it. We'll just put it on the list.
I dropped it at the end of May, just high level, kind of a milestone there in between. So between now, we can probably unpack that more later.
Okay. So you dropped that in Trello, you said?
I'll put it in Trello. It's just on the roadmap right now, right here in the middle. Kind of these monthly milestones. That Merit Market Online was April's, and good news is that's done. So check mark there.
Yeah. That's really good.
And then I just threw the other idea out there, Merit Invites. Right now, it's an old note, and we're not hearing a lot about it, but it's good to have a milestone there.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. What else? So now should we move to Q&A?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sweet. Does anybody have questions? Feel free to ask them here. Some of you might be muted because when you came in, you had a lot of background noise, so we might have muted you. You may have to unmute yourself if you're going to use voice. Alternatively, you can also type the question here in the chat, or you can type it on Discord. Inside of it, if you're going to do it on Discord, do it inside the chit chat. Would be good.
I have a few questions people sent to me, but I'll hold off unless it's quiet.
Okay. You may want to start with those while people type, because people might be typing out their questions now, so it could take a little while.
Sure. So if we're looking at this in like a 12-week window, for example, any because it's on the Trello board, but I didn't put it in this 12-week window. But anyway, all that said, any talk of just how do I say it? People are curious about kind of the growth rewards, and do you think anything's going to happen over the next 12 weeks with growth related things, or is that going to be on the back burner for this window of time?
I would say, and I'm happy to like dig into this more if people have compelling opinions. I've spent a lot of time reading over the weekend. I was reading a lot of the chit chat stuff from the last couple of weeks, which I appreciate. People who had meaningful thoughts, and there's a lot of you who had meaningful thoughts about what to do and like why, and so especially those of you that actually like backed up your ideas with reasoning. I'm so very thankful to you for like trying to be logical and rational. That's super awesome. So thank you for doing that. I think, based on what I've read and like heard, I mean, I think, and I don't want to speak for anybody else on the core team, so other people can chime in here, but I would say it doesn't strike me as the highest priority right now. Like, I think that when you look at the things we need to do, I think there's sort of more work to be done on like upgrading the infrastructure, making sure we have solid server stuff in place, getting the dashboard back online. I think that getting this core services back, like even getting the mobile app approved and listed, or even reissuing a beta, those things all seem like kind of the lower hanging fruit. And then I think getting listed on an exchange seems like the next major like win for Merit. I think it doesn't strike me that like tweaking the growth rewards one way or another is going to like make a binary difference in the success of Merit. Like, it doesn't strike me that like it would go from being a 0 to a 1 if we like tweak something in growth rewards. I don't see that, nor have I heard a compelling case of anybody who's sort of, mentioned that they wanted that. I haven't heard a compelling case from anybody around like making X or Y change to the growth rewards is somehow going to like make a step change or fundamental shift in the growth or engagement of the community. So that's my kind of quick TLDR. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody or if people agree or disagree with that. I'd love for people on the core team to chime in. Max, Eugene, if you guys have opinions there. Cam, also, if you have an opinion there. But just to reiterate the thought, I think we have a very clear list of low-hanging fruit. I think tweaking growth rewards is definitely not low-hanging because it's a tremendous amount of work. I mean, it took us months to make POG changes when we had a full-time team of like 16 people. Like we don't have that anymore. So like, I don't know how long people think it would take to make a set of changes, but we're talking like a much longer period of time. Like it could be like, yeah, many months or more than a year, like, because we don't have people full-time on it. And I fail to see how it would go, like it would make a step change. Like we'd go from 0 to hero by changing the POG thing. I just don't see that. And nor have I heard even an ounce of compelling evidence to suggest that that would be the case. Anything to add there, guys? Max, Eugene, Cam?
Yeah, I just want to add, like, it's maybe not visible to the community, but we did put a lot of effort into making those changes. And like Adil said, we spent months simulating various different possibilities. We wrote a lot of software that to do that, and I agree that it's small tweaks and changes do have huge impacts, and we want to make sure that if we do that, people at the time necessary to do that.
Right. Yeah, I don't see how it would happen in a reasonable period of time. But more importantly, I don't know why that would be more important than like getting listed on a major exchange. Do you know what I mean? Like we had time to spend on something, like why would we spend time on that versus getting the mobile app back online for iOS and getting listed and stuff?
A lot of the same reasons I didn't put it on this list for the next 12 weeks, at least from the community's perspective. There's a lot of other opportunities.
Makes sense. Yeah, and to be clear, it doesn't mean like POG is perfect. I mean, I don't know how, I mean, crypto's not perfect. And POG is certainly not perfect, but yeah, it doesn't strike me as like the most low-hanging fruit, given the effort and given what it wins us. Like, I can't imagine why we'd want to spend 6 months on that. And then at the end, it's like we made no progress on getting listed on an exchange. Like, I don't know why that would be a win.
Cool.
Eugene, anything to add there? Anybody else from the community have anything to add on that? That's true. Wait, what? You mean something other than the merit market? Oh, Kush is dropping some news on us here. Apparently, Merit is listed on something called Vinix, which is an exchange. It appears that we are listed. So I don't know. This is news to me. So that's cool.
There's been a few scam exchange posted recently. I don't know if this is a real one or not. I haven't looked into it yet.
No. Well, if this is the real Kush, then it's probably not a scam because I believe Kush has been like a member of the community for a while.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm guessing
That's
it's not a scam. Yeah, I'll play with it in the days to come, and then like see if like I'll do some test orders on it, see if it's like, I'm sure. I mean, if this is the real Kush, then it seems like it would be legit. So that's exciting news.
Do we have background more Kush on that? Are you connected to that at all?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vinex is run by a good friend of mine, and I know some of you guys don't know me, and I'm sure in crypto space, obviously trust is a very important thing, but I have a reputation, and if I vouch for an exchange, then it's probably solid. Guys like Shigi or Silver, you know, the usual guys who run escrow on OTC stuff, they know me. If you guys need more vouching, but Vinex Network is ran by Midas Foundation. They're an Asian group of guys, solid, professional. If you guys go to Midas Foundation, you can find more details. They do a variety of services as well around crypto area. But yeah, play around. They have a really tricky method. Well, not really tricky, but a unique method of depositing Merit. So not sure why the technical reason for doing this. Maybe you guys could work with them, but Pretty much every account needs to put a specific, after the deposit amount, they need to put a specific decimal number, so which links to the user's account. It's important for the funds to be routed to the, for that number to be accurate, for the funds to be routed to user's account upon deposit. But again, these guys are new, but they're growing kind of at a decent pace. They've been working with Veil people, and Veil was one of the first coins they added as well, so which got a decent volume. But anyways, they're new. They're constantly adding and fixing their site. But yeah, if you guys want, I can bring the CEO, put you guys in touch with them if you guys want to do any kind of I don't know, some kind of cross promos or something down the line. We can always do that as well.
Cool. That's great news. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, we can definitely, so like spending time like working with them to make the integration tighter, that's definitely a win. I think there are a lot of opportunities there that seem like they're worthwhile. And then also potentially getting listed on other exchanges is probably a win too. I don't know a lot about Linux or like what their volume is. Of course, as I think we all know, there's a little bit of a
yeah, they just got 2 days ago. They also got listed on CoinMarketCap, which I guess these days it's harder for an exchange to get listed there than a coin. But yeah, we can definitely also put in a manual request for Merit to be listed as well, because even though they have plenty of coins added, only a handful is actually showing up in CoinMarketCap. But this is a simple request to CoinMarketCap to.
Yeah, we should put that on our list. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, cool.
And I'll definitely, when the time comes, again, everything's about time. I'm a strong believer in timing. So if there's any momentum with the promotional efforts and stuff like that needs to coincide with the market movements, I can definitely provide some market making as well on that exchange.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think I was going to say that, like, we probably want to pursue conversations with other exchanges too, but it's also, it's tricky because I think we all know now, and I think most of us knew before, that, the numbers that most exchanges report are totally fake. So, we want to pursue other conversations with exchanges, but we need to be thoughtful that, like, we shouldn't have unrealistic expectations is the point, around getting listed, having the crazy impact. And also, like, it's probably not worth like the $5 million listing fee or whatever.
Definitely not
for an exchange that's 95 or more % faked volume, which as I think I've mentioned in the last meeting to the community, we knew that early on because we were doing a bunch of testing, which is why we didn't build our algorithms to trade crypto. Was we knew that the exchanges were effectively lying. So it's cool. Like, Vinix seems cool, and hopefully, just looking at the website, it doesn't look like they're trying to falsify their stats, which is also exciting. So that's cool. Okay, great. Thank you for that.
I'll add it to Trello. So integration and investigation and stuff.
And then CoinMarketCap as a separate one too. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Any other Q&A? So that was a good question from the community, Cam, about, like, POG changes. It sounds like in the near term, there's not a compelling reason, but again, somebody might be able to, like, give us some compelling reasons to think it through, right? At this point, it's strictly a volunteer effort, so every volunteer needs to be convinced, right? So
yeah, no, for sure. I have 2 other ones, unless you have some others that came through.
Not yet.
Okay, and they're both easier, I would think. That one, the easy one, I'll start with this. That more educational around the core wallet, and I'm just asking it because I told them I would. Do I need to just have the core wallet running, or do I need to mine to support the network?
So to answer the second question first, for sure you can just run the core wallet on its own. It doesn't. It supports running the core wallet supports the network already by virtue of the fact that you become a decentralized peer on the network. So you're relaying transactions and that sort of thing. So that's meaningful. You don't need to be a miner, I think, to to support the network. So just running the core wallet supports the network. Of course, if you mind, that supports the core network a little bit more. We definitely can and maybe should do some content to support, making things like clear to people and how to use sort of the various features in the core wallet. So I think that's a great opportunity for us to. I think that's a really great opportunity for us to like actually spend time, with the community on this, because I think that this is the kind of thing somebody in the community could do really well. And there are some pretty useful videos that the community has already put together. I think we put some of those on our YouTube channel. And I think there are some more that we probably could put on the YouTube channel. So I think there's real opportunity there. So definitely, if you're interested as a member of the community and getting involved, that's a great way to do it.
For sure. Educationally, I think there's different history and skill level. Not everyone knows the same things. So
yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. What was the next question? Last
question was any team updates or anything you guys share team-wise from the list that was on the website. I know that's could get personal too, but I know that one's come up a few times.
Yeah, I mean, every member of the core team is welcome to contribute going forward. I mean, the people you saw in the meeting are the people you see in the meeting now, people like Max, Eugene, and of course, myself, Cam, and Vladimir Vova was here. So, I think those people have been the most, and Tony has been involved as well. So those are the people I think who've been actively involved. I think that doesn't mean that other people can't be, but like, as I mentioned before to everybody, like it's up to every individual now to be involved if they want to be. I mean, we will likely keep the core team, when we decided to transition from full-time to kind of volunteer, the expectation I set with everybody was that like they could still remain a member of the core team and have that distinction in the open source world and community because like they were a part of the project. So I think we'll still keep those people as sort of like honorary members of the core team, right? But like, the people who you see engaging in the project, the people who you see doing things actively, like those are going to be the people who are, clearly contributing on a volunteer basis today. Other people might contribute later, right? Like, I don't know, like people might come back out of the woodwork a little bit. I think it's important for people to understand that like, for a lot of people, us transitioning to a part-time thing was like very painful, right? Because like, we spent a lot of time, a lot of effort. Like nobody on the core team worked 40 hours a week. Like everybody worked way more than that. And so like, I think it's tough to know that something, at least to date, has not been an economic success. So I think for a lot of people, it's been emotionally hard to engage because it's like, it feels like a little bit of a loss. And, let's be honest, like the community hasn't been the most positive. So it's tough when you're working your ass off on something, that it's financially not working, and you continue to volunteer beyond that, and then all you do is get shit on by the community. That's not a motivating thing. So the reality here is I think it's up to each person. I think some people might come back out of the woodwork. I think some of that is probably a function of the community. Like if the community, continues to be on a nasty streak and we continue not to ban those people, I can imagine that more core team people will just drop out because they get demotivated because what's in it for them, right? Like if they're not getting appreciated, and there's not a financial incentive, then what's the point, right? So, so the people, just the TLDR is, I think the people who you see here, those are the people who are involved, who are helping. Other people, I think, reserve the right to help. Like they may come back and help some more. And, I think our mileage will vary based on how the community is and if people determine that it's really worth their time or not.
Awesome.
Cool. Hopefully that answers that question. Anybody else in the meeting have a question or anything else before we wrap up? I want to keep these things running loosely on time so that we can continue to do them. Because if we keep, if they end up running over every time we do them, it's going to be hard for people to want to show up. So I just want to make sure that it looks like we have time for one more question, I think, if somebody has it. Otherwise, we can wrap here. Cool. Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming. Really appreciate it. This was good. Looking forward to doing the next one. Cheers, everybody. Have a good rest of the weekend.
Thanks.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
Bye.